Live with CDP Sports Talk, a weekly sports and entertainment podcast sponsored by Barry Cullen Chevrolet. Live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and LinkedIn. And on audio via Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, Anchor FM, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Radio Public, and TuneIn. Now, here's your host, Chris Palme.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Season 9, Episode 31, overall 471 of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, sponsored by Wellington Brewery, 950 Woodlawn Road West in Guelph, Ontario. Check out their website, wellingtonbrewery.ca. Make sure you try a Wellion, and please remember to drink responsibly as well. Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show is also sponsored by Barry Cullen Chevrolet dealership at 905 Woodlawn Road West in the Guelph Auto Mall. Check out barrycullen.com for the newest selection of new and pre-owned GM vehicles, along with their great selection of all electric vehicles and Cadillac products as well. You can call the dealership at 519-824-0210 and tell them Chris Palme sent you, or you can email the dealership at info@barrycullen.com. Barry Cullen Chevrolet dealership has been family run and operated here in the city of Guelph since 1969. I've been a proud customer of Barry Cullen Chevrolet dealership since the year 2000. And Barry Cullen Chevrolet has been the official sponsor of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show since September 2022. And Wellington Brewery is also the official beer sponsor of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show. I hope everyone's doing well on this Monday, December 23rd, 2024, just less than 2 days away from Christmas. So I want to wish everyone watching this live stream or listening on audio a very merry Christmas or happy holidays if you don't celebrate Christmas. And thank you for watching. And I'm excited tonight to have my guest on tonight. It's her first appearance. She's also a Philadelphia Eagles fan, so that's a bonus as well. Her name is Gina Michelle. She's the executive partner and president of her own company called Gina Michelle Consultant Group. And she's based out of Virginia. So we're going to bring Gina on and talk about her business, Gina Michelle Consultant Group, and maybe a little bit about the Christmas holidays, and maybe talk a little bit about the Eagles' tough loss to Washington yesterday. So here's my guest, her first appearance on our show, Gina Michelle. Good evening, Gina. How are you?
I am doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good on this snowy Monday night. It's -2 Celsius here, and we're getting a little bit of snow. So it feels more like Christmas because to me, Christmas, I just find it feels more Christmassy when there's snow on the ground.
I definitely agree. I'm in near Virginia Beach, Virginia, and we have not seen snow this season, but I did live in Ohio for 4 years. And so when the snow's on the ground, it definitely changes the tone of Christmas. So I know exactly what you. Thankfully, it's not -2 degrees here, though. Couldn't do that.
What's the temperature in Virginia right now?
I think around like the 30s or 40s, maybe. Not too cold. Not cold like where you are.
that's shorts weather to me. That's shorts weather. That's balmy. But hey, you said the word Ohio. So since you're from Ohio, what part of Ohio, and were you an Ohio State Buckeye fan growing up?
So I moved to Ohio to go to college, but I'm a proxy Ohio State fan. Both my children were born in Ohio, and my daughter's a huge Buckeye fan. Like she's gone to like the Michigan Ohio State games, and she gets very upset when they don't win. So yeah, I'm a Buckeye fan by proxy. I still wear my Ohio State gear, but I'm just not like the typical. Sorry, a Buckeye fans. Typical Buckeye fan.
You're gonna boo me when I tell you this. I'm a Michigan Wolverines fan.
Of course you are. Of course you are.
Go blue.
So you've been
go
here
blue.
The last few years.
Yep, since 2019, the last four meetings, we've beaten Ohio State, and
Oh,
that rivalry, it's the best rivalry, regardless of what school you're going for. To me, Ohio State Michigan is the best rivalry in college sports by far.
oh, it is. And if you get a chance to go to the game, I highly recommend it. Any seat in the house is like one of the best games I've ever. Like the fans there, the energy is just like so amazing. So if you ever get a chance to go, definitely go. It's a good.
And
It's a good experience.
absolutely. And who's your pick for the national champion? I'm going to go with the Oregon Ducks.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I guess I'll just go with what you go with. That's okay, since we're already opposing with the Buckeyes and Michigan.
Yeah, it's Oregon and Michigan. It's Oregon and Ohio State coming up. So I really feel that's going to be a huge game. I think it's going to be close.
Yes.
I think it's going to be like 33-30. I think it's going to be high scoring. But I think Oregon at home is the difference. If the game was at Ohio State, I might say the Buckeyes, but being on the road, I got to go with the Oregon Ducks to pull it out.
Well, I still have to go with the Buckeyes, just
That's
out of
okay. That's okay.
out of loyalty and nothing else.
That's okay. We're gonna convert you into being a Michigan fan. Go Blues.
I don't know if
Hey,
that's possible.
speaking of football, you're a Philadelphia Eagles fan. How did that come about, being a Philadelphia Eagles fan?
I know it's very interesting. So my mom's a Kansas City fan. I mean, she's been a Kansas City fan forever, before Mahomes. And so when Mahomes came, I mean, when we played Kansas City, my sister 49ers fan, and so when their team played Kansas City, my mom gets very she's unsportsmanlike. Up an understatement, I think. But I actually started liking the Eagles in high school. I had a job. It's very unique story. I had a job at Ticketmaster in high school, and the Eagles tickets went on sale. And I would pull up the map on the phone and help people pick seats in the stadium. And I would say, one day I'm going to go to this game. So many, like, the Eagles fans are just like amazing. Like, the energy's great. It's like, hey, just tell me, how are these seats or how are those seats? And it's, oh, okay. So then I started paying attention because my mom watched football every Sunday anyway. It was just as part of our family tradition. I have TVs down. Actually, I have 3 TVs downstairs, so that way we can watch the games that we want when they come on. And so ever since I've been an Eagles fan, even though they didn't win the Super Bowl with him. I still supported them through the years. Yeah.
And there's you said your mom's a Kansas City fan. There's a connection between the Eagles and the Chiefs. Nick Sirianni was with the Chiefs. Andy Reid coached the Eagles for 14 years, and Carson Wentz, who was supposed to be the Eagles franchise quarterback, is now a backup in Kansas City to Patrick Mahomes.
She probably already knows that. Definitely, I know the coach's similarity. She knows the backup players because she tells us, "We took your player. We just took your player." She'll call my sister, or "We took your player. We're going to win this year." And then now that Mahomes is there, they're actually winning a lot, a whole lot.
Absolutely. And tell your mom I've had a couple of Kansas City Chiefs on my show. Former tight end, former Eagle and Chief tight end Jason Dunn has been on my show, and he has his own podcast show called the Chiefs Concern Podcast. He's a great guy, Jason Dunn. And then I've had Alex Gold on from a sports radio station in Kansas City on my show as well.
Oh, wow. So my mom and my aunt and my uncle took a road trip. They left Sunday, and from here to Colorado Springs. And she called me. She's like, "I'm driving through Kansas City." I'm like, "Of course you are." Of course you are.
I've been to Kansas. I've been to Kansas City once back in July 2015. Supposed to go to a Kansas City Royals game there, and they had a tornado and heavy rain, so I was stuck in a hotel overnight. And unfortunately, the next day, my bus trip had to go to our next stop, which was in Iowa for the Field of Dreams. So I got to go to Kansas City for a few minutes, but due to the weather, I have no
Yeah.
control over it. I missed it, but we did get to see Royal Stadium, or where the Royals play, and Arrowhead.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's an amazing. Both stadiums are right beside each other, and they're right out in the country. I guess they're not really in the city. They're on the outskirts of Kansas City.
Wow. That would be that. That seems like a very fun trip. I love visiting stadiums, like when we go places, just to kind of like get that feel, even if there aren't any games. But yeah.
And then as for the Eagles-Washington game yesterday, Eagles got off to a great start, 14-0, and then Jalen Hurts took a hit, helmet hit, and he wanted to come back in, but they decided to the NFL decided, no, you're not coming back in. Kenny Pickett came in, got the Eagles another touchdown. The team was up 21-7 after the first quarter. Kenny Pickett's not a bad quarterback by any means, but I really feel that if Jalen Hurts had played that whole game, they would have won that game. But there was a lot of mistakes. The defense in the second half wasn't very good. And Jaden Daniels, the Commanders quarterback, he's the real deal. And here's the story. I met him at the NFL draft in Detroit, and I should have got a selfie with him. I was very impressed with his demeanor. He's very talented, but I think Washington has found their quarterback for the next 15, 20 years.
Oh, wow. Well, I have an aunt and a cousin who are DC or, Washington fans. And so she told me they were going to beat us yesterday. She said, she was like, we're going to win tomorrow. And she said that Saturday. I was like, no, I don't think so. And then we lost.
Yeah, so I'm eating humble pie, but I try to be objective too. I'm an Eagles fan. I want to see us win, but hey,
Yeah.
they too many mistakes. They in the second half they had 6 turnovers from Washington, and instead of getting touchdowns, they ended up kicking field goals. And you know this in football, if you don't score touchdowns and you settle for field goals, you're most likely going to lose at the end of the game. So and at the end of the game, Devontae Smith dropped the ball too, but you know what? Saquon Barkley's dropped one against Atlanta earlier in the year. Hey, I'm going to tell you this, Gina. If you told me before the season started that after 15 games, the Eagles would be 12-3 in first place in the NFC East and be in the number 2 seed in the NFL, I think 90% of us would have signed up for that.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially compared to last year. Because last year
it was a meltdown.
I was going to say it was a nosedive. I was like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
They were 10-1, and they weren't playing good even at 10-1. And then the last 7-8 games, they just melted down. I know people right now are panicking about this loss, but it's only one game, and it's not a playoff game. So I'm assuming Jalen Hurts is going to be cleared to play next Sunday against Dallas, assuming. And they're going to be back at home. And I think this could be a wake-up call, too, because sometimes, you know this, Gina, when a team's on a 10-game winning streak, they can get away with some stuff. And I think this is a good coach, a teaching tool for the coaching staff and the players saying, hey, guys, look, we got to fix this up because the playoffs start in less than a month, in a few weeks.
Yeah. Hopefully I've been saying we're going to the Super Bowl this year, so hopefully I'm not wrong.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Yes.
You got the Eagles, the Detroit Lions, the Minnesota Vikings, the Green Bay Packers. One team, Gina, everybody shouldn't sleep on in the NFC is the Los Angeles Rams. They've won 8 out of their last 10 games, and they're 10-6. And Matt Stafford's playing as good as any quarterback in the NFL right now.
I'm gonna have to look out for that.
So that's the team I'd keep an eye on, the Rams. I know they're only 10-6, but they are a good football team, and they just beat Buffalo, and they're a really good team. So it's not going to be an easy road. And right now, by the way, if the playoffs started today, the Eagles would be taking on the Washington Commanders at Lincoln Financial Field. So there's a chance the Eagles could be playing the Commanders again, and that scares me because Jaden Daniels, even though he's a rookie, he reminds me of a younger version of Jalen Hurts.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, Jay, like you said, that he's cleared and he plays the whole game because we need him to be there for the whole game and the rest of the season in the playoffs and then the Super Bowl.
Absolutely. Who who are some of your other favorite Eagles besides Jalen Hurts? You a big fan of AJ Brown?
Brown, I like before we traded him. And Saquon, yeah.
The Giants gave us a Christmas present. How do you let an impact player like Saquon Barkley go to Philadelphia? It's not like we traded for him. It's just the Giants are just a complete disaster right now. And I know everybody here listening or watching, because I'm in the Buffalo area, they think Josh Allen should be the MVP. He is a great quarterback. He's had a great year. But Saquon Barkley is going to run for over 2,000 yards or 2,100 runs. To me, Saquon Barkley should be the MVP.
Yeah, like the amount of yards in one season, because he's already broken records, right?
Yep. And he's only 168 yards from 2,000, which only a handful of running backs have done. And he's about a couple hundred yards from breaking Eric Dickerson's rushing record from 1984, which was 40 years ago.
Oh, yeah, he's definitely going to break that. Definitely.
But he's one guy we can't have hurt. Like, it was bad enough losing Jalen yesterday, but if we lose Saquon Barkley, that hurts. I like Kenneth Gainwell, by the way. Kenneth Gainwell is a nice complementary backup running back to Barkley, but he's not the same as Barkley. But I'm hoping the Eagles can get their business done against Dallas. I'm not worried about the number 1 seed. Just beat Dallas on Sunday, and then the last game of the year against the Giants, they can put in their 3rd and 4th stringers against a very bad New York Giants team. So I'm hoping that game against the Giants, they can just rest guys and get them ready for the playoffs.
We have to beat Dallas. Like, we cannot allow Dallas fans to say that they beat us.
Oh, yeah. I equate the Eagles beating Dallas like Michigan beating Ohio State. If we only win one game the whole year, beating Ohio State or Dallas is like, to me, it's my championship.
It's the game. Like, it's the game. Like, all the other games count, but this one matters the most.
Absolutely. Hey, since you're wearing red, by the way, that's a great color. What are your thoughts on the upcoming Christmas holiday season?
So normally our family hosts here, but my cousin who's in the Army is actually hosting in Colorado Springs. And so I'm actually still working. I didn't take off because I plan on traveling next year. And so they're all headed to visit my family. But here we host, we cook dinner, we have family over, we see the lights every year. So here they have Norfolk Gardens, which is really beautiful this time of year. But we're actually going to go to the oceanfront. So right here in Virginia Beach, there's a boardwalk. And during this time of the year, they set up the lights for the boardwalk. And you get in your car and you drive down the boardwalk. And you turn on your Christmas music and see all the lights. And so I've done that since my son was born. He's just turned 19 on the 13th of December. And so we do it like every single year. I know probably over it, but it's like my Christmas present to myself from them. Come see the lights with me. So normally that's part of the tradition in family.
Is that your favorite thing about Christmas is the lights? And wanted to put you on the spot here. What's your favorite Christmas food and music and Christmas movie?
So my favorite Christmas food is cranberry sauce, homemade cranberry sauce. My favorite Christmas song is Silent Night by the Temptations. And then my favorite Christmas movie, I have a few. So A Christmas Story, Scrooge with Bill Murray, Polar Express. That's probably the recent one I share a lot with my kids. And then just like the Charlie Brown Christmas that everyone watches, that 30-minute version every year. So I have a few that I like to make sure that I watch during this time of year.
For me, for Christmas, I like mashed potatoes and ham, and then dessert. Any kind of dessert is great. And as for music, I guess the Grinch song. You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. I like that song. And then Christmas movie, I would go with Home Alone 1 and 2, the first two, and then Christmas Vacation. Home Alone 3 and 4 and 5 were bad. They were terrible. The first two with Macaulay Culkin was great in that, but the other three were bad. There's a number of good Christmas movies out there, but I would say Home Alone 1 and 2, Christmas Vacation, and Uncle Buck with the late John Candy.
Oh, yeah, that is a good one.
I
I
don't
used
know
to
if it's
love Jeff.
yes, and he's from Toronto, and he died 30 years ago at the age of 44. So he passed
Yeah.
away too soon, and he was great. Uncle Buck, I guess, really wasn't a Christmas movie, but they always play it a lot during Christmas season. So
Almost like Die Hard when when they say Die
what's
Hard is not a Christmas movie, even though it is.
what's your opinion? Is it a Christmas movie or not? I say no.
I say no, but we do watch it at we do watch it at Christmas. So, but yeah, it technically no, it's not a Christmas movie.
Are you a fan of Green Christmas or White Christmas?
Green Christmas,
Weather-wise, green. Okay,
green.
green. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll go with white. I like snow, but that's okay. But
Yeah.
Gina, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, I was
No,
gonna say
you go.
after I survived a few blizzards during Christmas time in Ohio. One time the snow was about 3 feet. And so after that, I was like, yeah, I prefer a Christmas with maybe a few inches of snow and just all green. I'm good with green.
Yeah, we don't have that much snow here in Ontario. We have maybe 1 or 2 inches, if that. I know
Hmm.
Buffalo, New York gets it. Buffalo's right off Lake Erie. They get it. I know Cleveland can get it too, being off Lake Erie. It's crazy how some parts of a city can get hit with snow, and then parts of the city 10 minutes away get nothing.
That is true. That is true. I don't think I would want to be up there this time of the year, at least not if I had to drive. Not if I had to drive.
But I will
Yeah.
take cold weather and snow over earthquakes and fires and flooding and that. So you know what? I just rather I like the four seasons. I like the four seasons because we get hot, humid summers here, and in the fall
Uh-huh.
and the winter, it's kind of nice change. So to me, I don't know. I kind of like the four seasons I get over here in Ontario.
I'm definitely a person that would not mind moving to Florida. I love the water. I love warm weather. I love being able to go outside without a coat and mittens and earmuffs and a hat and boots.
Hey, speaking of traveling, have you been to Canada before yet? Have you been here yet?
No. So on my bucket list is Niagara Falls on
Well, Niagara
Canada
Falls, I
side.
know. Yes, I'm about 90 minutes from Niagara Falls, Ontario. It's our version of Las Vegas. And also,
Uh-huh.
if you like wine, I'm not sure if you're a wine drinker. Niagara Falls is kind of like our Napa Valley. You know Napa in California. Niagara Falls is like that for wine.
Oh. So I'll have to make sure I connect with you when I come, and then you can recommend all the wineries.
And also, too, the dollar is in your favor. See, Canadian dollar right now has
Mhm.
shrunk. The Canadian dollar has shrunk down to 68 cents American. So for us to get 100 American costs us almost $200. But for you guys, you come over here, you guys get a big bang. It's better for Americans to come over to Canada right now than for us to go over to the States because of our dollars kind of really gotten bad.
I think I've heard that. A friend of mine, I think, just went to Canada and she went shopping for some pricey items, and she mentioned that to me. She's like, "You should come here and shop." I was like, "Great idea."
But our tax, it's expensive here. Our cost of living here is it's just like in the States too. Our cost of living, everything is gone up and gone up. It's not because of the government. It's basically these companies are just making
Mhm.
more profit. And you know what they're doing also too, a lot of these grocery stores, and they're doing it in the States too. I've seen it. They call it shrinkflation. They basically charge you more money for a product and they make the product smaller. That's what shrinkflation is. This.
I've, yeah, I've seen that. It's like, wait a second, this isn't the same size I have at home. And you don't really realize that unless you have something at home to compare it to.
Absolutely. So we're in different countries, but we got the same issues too.
Of course. Of
And that's
course.
why I told my guest, Kels Morton on, and I've had a number of comedians on my show too. I said the world right now literally needs more comedians, and I really enjoy having comedians on my show as well. And she was a great guest. She was on about a month ago.
Yes. So here her stage name Kel's the Great. So she has a show here scheduled January 5th, and then she also has a show scheduled January 25th. So she actually has 2 shows next month coming up. She's been really hitting the ground. I'm really, really proud of her and all of her accomplishments. And just her personality as a person. She's just so genuine, and she's like a really good champion to have on your team. So yeah, very proud of her.
And she's also served, I believe, in the U.S. Navy. I think the
Yep.
U.S. Navy for 23, 24 years. That's
Yeah.
amazing. Can you just tell us how you ended up meeting her a year ago?
Yeah. So her and I were at a show, and I was a guest of one of the comedians. And so I was sitting at a table by myself, and her and another female comedian, they were looking for tables. And I was like, hey, come sit here. And so started having a conversation where she was telling me that those they were both comedians, female comedians, which is a little different from her perspective. And just in that conversation, there's a lot of male comedians in the industry. And so she was just sharing her experience of being a female comedian for her population, for her audience. And it was just very interesting because although I'm not a comedian, ultimately I do want to get out and speak to folks. And comedy is about holding someone's attention for, 20, 30, 40 minutes with just you, and the entire room is looking at you and they're expecting something from you. And so just to see her in action and to see that skill set, it's just very interesting. And she gave me a lot of good pointers because, starting a consulting business, you have to talk to people and you have to talk to large groups, small groups, one-on-ones. And she gave a lot of good feedback on how to approach situations when you are unfamiliar with that audience or you are unfamiliar with the person that you're talking to, because you want people just to genuinely get to know you. You want them to know who you are, and you don't have a lot of time to communicate that because people see you, they judge you on how you look, and then they want something from you immediately. And so you have to deliver. And so, yeah, I learned that from her, and she's just been so supportive, very supportive. Yeah.
One thing too, even doing the radio talk show too, as much as talking is important, listening is huge. Whatever career you're in, listening is just as important because you can find out more information by somebody by actually listening to as well. And I found that out when I first started my show. I was writing down everything and focusing on the piece of paper and my questions prepared. Then my guest. So one of my guests gave me some good advice, and this pretty well applies to any career too, is talk to your guests naturally. It's okay to write points and notes down, but have a natural conversation. It makes for a better radio podcast show. And I'm sure the same with your business as well.
Yes, I was given that advice as well, to write down what you think you're going to say, how you think, even though you may not say that, at least you have the idea of the flow of how you want the conversation to go. So like my day job is healthcare analytics. And so it's a lot of presenting information in a way that people understand it. And sometimes it's a lot of information that seems completely unrelated. And you have to be able to condense that and tell a story with it. And so I just basically, took that skill set and, to writing things down. I have notebooks going back to 2016. I actually have them on my bookshelf, and they're all labeled. That's probably like the OCD version of me, but I take a lot of notes. But to your point, listening is very important, and then being able to summarize that so that way you do have like that natural conversation so people know that, she is paying attention, or she really does understand where I'm coming from.
And being self-employed myself and having my own small business, it takes a lot of work. People think, you're working from home, this is great, it's easy, but it's not. It's a lot of work. You got to put in the time. You have to go out and promote yourself. Nothing
Yeah.
Nothing is given to you when you're self-employed, and at home you have to go out and contact people. And I love doing my show virtually and stuff like that, but getting my sponsors, I went door to door. I still believe in the old school of face to face as well as virtual. Like, obviously technology is great, but I still think person to person is still the best way of communicating with people.
I definitely agree with that. People work with who they trust, who they have a relationship with. So, that's part of Gina Michelle Consulting Group is the network marketing and branding. It's about relationship and the reputation and the connection that a person can have with your brand. Because if I don't know you or trust you, how am I going to listen to anything that you have to say to me? Like, I'm going to feel as though that you don't even know who I am. So to your point, that personal relationship, like, people may support you and watch what you do, but to get like that full engagement, you have to show up every time. You have to make sure that that relationship with that person comes primary. It's, they feel very important and they have your attention at the times that they need to have your attention. So yeah.
I call it trust and rapport. And I know with my business and my media show, I want my guests to check out my work. I want my guests, all of my guests, to feel comfortable and trust me here. And if there's a topic that they can't really talk about, I respect their wishes. So I want people to come on here and have a good time. And I make sure I don't talk politics or religion. I just
Mhm.
want people, I want the guests to come on here and share their story, and the focus is on the guests. So to me, trust and rapport is huge in any business, whether it's small, medium, or large.
Agreed. Agreed. You have to trust who you do business with. Definitely.
Absolutely. Now, before we get into some questions, you said you kind of want to get into comedy. What
I did.
kind
No, no,
of?
no, I don't want to get into comedy. I don't think
Oh,
I'm funny, but I
okay.
love watching. I go to our comedy club here locally, at least a few times a month. And we have comedians from all over, all over. I definitely want to have a local show with local comedians, just promoting, because we have a lot of funny comedians that come from our area, areas that have gone on to do really great things, and they come back every once in a while. But I just, life happens, and you kind of have to find your strength or your source. And so I really started getting into going to comedy clubs, and so I would go alone, and that's one place that you really can go alone and you don't feel alone. You laugh, and people at your table that you sit with are laughing. And that's Kels and the other female comedian. You sit and you meet people and you're laughing at the same things and you're having conversations and you're just like, that is hilarious. And they're thinking it's hilarious too. And by the end of the night, you're like getting their contact information because they come as much as you do. And so I have a great appreciation for comedy. I think it's a great gift to have. The conversations I have with people who are comedians is that, to be able to put a smile on someone's face, and, people go places and things happen to them. But when you're able to make them laugh, like, that is such a great gift to have. Like, I think I make people laugh, but that's not my job. But I have a great appreciation for people that do, because that's laughter and happiness, I think, are really strong emotions that it's a gift to be able to make someone smile, laugh, even when they don't want to.
Okay, I'm going to put you on the spot here. Who are some of your favorite female and male comedians? And do you watch Saturday Night Live, which is celebrating its 50th year in 2025?
Um, so my favorite female comedian would probably have to be Samore. I grew up watching her on Comic View. I've seen her a couple times here locally. She's hilarious, very senior, beautiful. Like, she's a female comedian that comes out and she looks amazing every time she comes out. My favorite male comedian is probably a little biased because he's from here, Angus Black. I grew up listening to him on radio, so he was also a radio show host at our largest radio station here in Virginia. So those two are pretty hilarious. What was the last question? I missed it. Favorite
Just
female comedian, male comedian?
Yes, yeah, female and male comedians, and Saturday Night Live. Saturday Night
Oh,
Live. Are
so
you a fan?
probably not. I probably watch more of like In Living Color than Saturday Night Live, even though I probably watched Saturday Night like sprinkled in, but I probably was more like in the in living color era of that type of comedy or that type of show.
That would be
Yeah.
the late 80s, early 90s, I believe.
Yeah. I probably shouldn't have been watching it. I was too young. But my sister and I would sneak the little travel radio that's about this big in our rooms and sit under the bed and watch it and turn it down really, really low so my mom wouldn't hear us.
You have a favorite episode of In Living Color?
Fire Marshal Bill, I think it was, with I can't think of his name. He was in Jim Carrey. So Jim Carrey was on there. Let's see. What's another favorite episode with Damon? Well, it's a lot of favorite episodes. You have Jamie Foxx, who was on there. Where I think it was, I can't even think of her name. Not Shanae. You really did put me on the spot. I wasn't prepared for this. Let's see. Those two. So Jamie Foxx's character and then Jim Carrey's character. And Jim Carrey's character was my favorite because my sister used to pretend that she was him and she like put her lips under and on Fire Marshal Bill. Was like, that's hilarious. So yeah.
And Jim Carrey was born in Canada, in Toronto.
Really?
Yep, he was Canadian. Everybody thinks of Canada, okay, the snow, the cold, hockey, beer, and donuts. But Canada's had a lot of great actors, actresses, and comedians. And I told Cal's Morton, I said, if you ever come up to Canada, you'll be amazed how good the comedy is and how many comedy clubs are up here.
I'm gonna have to really make this trip. It's gonna have to be on my goal is to travel somewhere every month next year, so that might be on my list.
Let me know if you come to Ontario.
I will. I definitely will.
Definitely. All right. Well, we're going to get into some questions about you, Gina. And the first one is, can you tell my audience a little bit about yourself and where did you attend school and did you have some early influences and mentors?
Yeah. So my educational background is it's not linear at all. So my undergrad is business and finance. I graduated from Franklin University in Ohio. I moved here back to Virginia, being part of a military family, and it was during the time of the financial bubble, 2008. And trying to find a job in finance was a little difficult. So I went back to school to teach students with special needs. I also have two nephews with autism, and so my sister said, you're really great with I was really great with my nephews, very, very patient. And so she's like, have you ever thought about teaching? And I was like, no. And so she called a company that actually had classes within the public schools for kids that had autism, but they were unable to sit in a classroom all day. And she's like, you have patience for that? And I'm like, I don't know. But there were the students that had like the behavioral issue that would disrupt a classroom. And so I taught special ed for 5, 6, 7 years. My last year of teaching, I went to school to be a principal. So I completed all that coursework in Maryland to be a principal and realized that wasn't the path for me. So when we moved back here, I obtained a job as an accountant for the Coast Guard. So not as an enlisted, but as a civilian. And so I met a lieutenant there who said, have you ever thought about like IT? And I was like, no, not really. She's like, well, it's kind of what you're doing. So I go over to her building where it's like super secure. You got to pull all your phones and the lock boxes and things, and you have to walk around with your badge. And she's showing me where like she has the code for the different colors of a screen that a pilot sees because they were testing color visibility at nighttime. And I was like, that's really cool, but that's not what I do. She's like, no, not that. This over here. And so I learned about database systems, where it's basically just coding all day, building. You're taking a lot of data and you're condensing it into different tables, and it feeds things. And so I went to school for that, at IT and database systems. But then when my first job, I was landed as an analyst, a healthcare analyst, and as a healthcare analyst, I was part of process improvement teams where I got my Lean Six Sigma certification. So that's process improvement. What you do is you take you see someone do something and you say, I can make that better, and this is how I can make it better. And then when they don't believe you, you show them the data behind it. And so I got really good at that and moved through the ranks there. And so really that's my day job. And so how I got into consulting was I moved back here, and a lot of my family and friends, entrepreneurs, and they have a lot of passion and energy like in their businesses. Like you just see how hard they work, 50, 60, 70 hours a week. And so what I did was the first 6 or 7 months was just interview people who had their own businesses, listen to what their problems were. And, the first few problems that I heard repeatedly about branding and networking. Like I'm in my business 50, 60 hours a week. I don't have time to reach out to clients. I don't have time to do these things or figure out how to make things better. And then with regards to branding, it's like, this is the message I'm trying to send. These are the populations of people that I'm trying to reach. And then, sometimes people get into business, and because their livelihood is how they make their living, they are focused on the bottom line. And sometimes they do lose their vision and mission that they originally started with. And I wanted to go this way, but somehow it went this way. They call me and I'll say, okay, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? What was your original vision for your business? Because, when you've been in business for 5 or 10 years, sometimes you forget even why you started. And then just through those conversations is when I start putting on my consulting hat and figuring out, okay, how can I help this person? Is it process improvement? Is it getting data to help them make the decision? Is it connecting them with the right people? Because sometimes it's just knowing the people you talk to, versus, just sitting in your bubble. To your point earlier, you have to get out, you have to go knock on doors. You can't grow if you're just sitting in your business, sitting in your home. You have to get out. You have to get out there. You have to put the time in.
And also to mindset, you're going to have people that support you, but you're also going to get naysayers, skeptics, and haters. So a strong mindset and belief in yourself. And Gina, I know we haven't known each other that long, but just talking to you here on the show too, I can tell how passionate you are. And that's the thing, whatever you do in life for career or a job, if you don't have the passion for it, then it's probably time to move on to the next career or next job path.
It is. And what I've learned in talking with entrepreneurs is that they all have this passion. They have like this flame inside of them. Like when you start talking about why they got started, because sometimes they forget, this is their day in and day out. They aren't thinking about the what ifs and the possibilities. And so when they pause and have that conversation of like, oh, this is why I started. Okay, well, how do we get back there? Like, where do you feel that you went left versus going right? And they have that flame inside of them. You can tell that, like I met a woman who, she's a pharmacist by day, but she also makes really nice candles. I mean, I met her at a wine expo, a wine tasting expo for sponsors. And we were both looking to sponsor something. And I mean, she put so much time into her craft. Like even her business cards were like scented to align with the different scents that she sold for her candles. And every time she sold her candles, she sold out. And so, she's like, but I don't know if I want to go bigger. And so just having that conversation of, have you tried this? Have you tried that? Like gave her like 3 different solutions of, these are things you can try. And it doesn't increase or decrease, anything of what you're doing, but you can try these things, but do small tests of change. It doesn't have to be long-term, but you always have to reevaluate what you're doing to make sure that what those different changes that you're making in your business have the outcome that you expect to have.
By the way, you were mentioning about being a special eds teacher and working with kids with autism. My co-host from my other show called the Small Talk Podcast, her name is Marlene Sharp. She's out of Los Angeles and she works in the animation industry, but she also does a lot of volunteer charity work with autism in entertainment, getting people with autism to get chances in the music industry or acting industry as well. I really should put you in touch with Marlene at some point.
really should. So my two nephews with autism are 20 and 22 now, I believe. I mean, they are adults. And so I have a sister in Charlotte, North Carolina, who's actually looking to start a program for adults with autism because, after 21, these students can no longer attend public schools. And so if their parents don't have the resources to provide them with anything, during the day or after school, if they don't have the, the basic skill sets or programs to get them out of the house, a lot of times these individuals sit in the homes like all day with nothing to do. I mean, they're on the internet, they're on their phones, but they also can be productive if you have someone who can take the time to figure out what it is that they're good at and where to plug them in. I have a nephew who plays video games a lot. But when I sat and watched him play video games, he's playing with people in Japan and he has autism. And so he's speaking to them. And so I'm telling my sister, I'm like, my nephew speaks Japanese. She goes, oh yeah, I know. I'm like, no, that's special. Like, it's really special. That's not normal. And so she's like, oh. And so when I talked to him, he's like, yeah, I want to have a YouTube channel where people can watch me play video games. I said, I think people would love to watch you play video games. And so, they're adults just like us who want to do things, but just maybe don't have the support to do those things. So that's amazing that she does that. Yes, please connect us. Please.
Yes, absolutely. And also too, our podcast show is only once a month. It's called the Small Talk Podcast with Marlene and myself. And I think you would make an excellent guest. And Marlene and you, I'm strongly convinced you would connect off well because she's very passionate about helping out autism and does a lot of work in the Los Angeles, California area with autism and entertainment. And we've done some shows on autism as well.
Absolutely. My nephew, my sister was just interviewed because my nephew participated in the first prom for students with autism. And so it's sensory. So it's, the lights, the sound, it's all sensitive to make sure that it's conducive to students with autism. And it's something that they are continuing. So, I think the message is getting out that, outside of school, there's not a lot, for people with autism. And so, if you can definitely help someone who has disabilities, because otherwise they may just be in the house all week or all month. You just don't know, what that looks like for folks,
Absolutely. And I will definitely connect you with Marlene. And also too, with autism, I know the Philadelphia Eagles have their Autism Foundation, which is amazing. And also too, the stereotype about autism is, oh, they're not very smart. They are very smart. Their intelligence is very high.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So my nephew, my oldest nephew with autism, he was about 6. And I said, tell me about a butterfly. And so, I've asked students this question before because you can kind of gauge the perception of the student. They'll say it's a color, or it's an insect, or it's, it starts off as a caterpillar. But no, nephew says, well, first it starts off as a larva. And I'm like, and he went through like the whole process of how it turns into a butterfly. And I was like, he's going to be a scientist one day. He was just so, I mean, he still is super intelligent. And then the students I taught with autism, they actually had super high IQs. It was just behaviorally, they couldn't sit in classrooms. And so I had a student who vocabulary, that was him. Like, he wanted to know every word in the dictionary. And so he would use his vocabulary was so amazing, where it was like, wait a second, I feel like you're calling me a name. He's like, I am. I'm like, well, give me a minute. I'm going to Google that. I was like, you said that about me? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, that's kind of funny, but I can't laugh. I'm your teacher. And he'd like chuckle, and then, the mood would change. But that was his thing, where he'd want to say mean things and words that people had to go research. But yeah, I love that population. If I was ever to do anything else, it would definitely be to go back to special ed, because you have to have a passion for it. And I think those students definitely leave their marks on you. They definitely leave their marks on you.
Well, you definitely have an open invite to come on the Small Talk podcast with Marlene Sharp and myself in the new year. And I'd love to talk more about autism with you and Marlene and your experience as a special ed teacher as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I definitely have stories to tell.
Absolutely. And that's what I love about this show is the storytelling aspect for my guests and to learn. I learn something new every time I'm on this show. And I do public speaking once a month for high school kids around here. And it's basically the importance of education in the classroom, but it doesn't stop outside the classroom as well. So I'm going to be honest with you, 25, 30 years ago, as much as I love sports, I was very shy and I did not like public speaking. I hated it. And now at the age of 52, I'm very comfortable being on camera and speaking to people. And I love doing it. Be yourself, no matter what business you're in or career, be yourself. Don't try to be somebody that you're not.
Very true. Very true. I have a friend that I said she's my consultant. And so, after when we have lunch or dinner, she asked me, like, what are you working on to sell for your business? And so late summer I was getting up and just talking to people. So I have a consulting business. And so you have to be able to talk to people that you don't know. And then after having conversations with real estate agents, which is when you think about clients and getting more clients, that activity regarding getting more clients or getting clientele is similar. You have to always sell yourself. You have to get out so people know, oh, this person does X and Z. And so, just making sure you have a story, making sure you have your elevator pitch. And like you said, be yourself. Like, people can see when you aren't. People can see, like, if you're faking it. And like you said, people can see if you have a passion for what you do, because I don't think I would want to work with someone who wasn't passionate about change, which is what basically my job is about. It's about talking to you and walking you through a process that is going to be uncomfortable, because you're changing something. You're changing how you previously operated to something that's more efficient.
You mentioned this a few minutes ago too. How much of an impact was it being in a military family that's kind of shaped you who you are?
Probably a lot. Moving around, you have to be able to very quickly identify, like, categories of people. And so just being in the military, you just, hi, I'm Gina, this is who I am, who are you? And, quickly make friends and quickly, identify, like, who your small groups are. As soon as you walk in, people figure out if you're part of the tribe or not immediately. And then just being able to adapt to change. It's you have to be able to love that. It feels uncomfortable now, and people don't like change. People are very averse to change. It's like, it's scary. I don't want to do that. And so being able to figure out what is uncomfortable about the change to be able to remedy those feelings. And so, like, I've been able to work through that within myself. And so that's something that I try to bring wherever I am. If it's something that's changing, something that's being introduced, like, immediately, people are, I don't want to do that. But it's like, but why do you not want to do that? What's uncomfortable about that for you? What would make it more comfortable for you? And then, helping people through that change. So being able to navigate in different places and then being comfortable with change is something I've definitely grown to, I guess, appreciate being part of the military family.
I was in another career for 23 and a half years, corporate security. They paid me well in benefits, but at the end, I wasn't happy. And to be fair, that career prepared me for this, because doing corporate security, I had to talk to people, I had to listen, I had to think on my feet, I had to deal with all kinds of scenarios. So I think that really helped as well. But at the end of my career there, I was kind of complacent. I had no passion for the job, even though they were paying me. My passion was gone. And you get complacent, and you never want to get complacent. When you feel like you're getting complacent in any career and job, it's time to move on. And for me, I was willing to do it. I was 47 and a half years old when I decided I'm going to switch careers, and I'm taking a bit of a risk, but this is something I really love doing. And also too, you know this as well, starting up a business, it doesn't happen overnight. It takes a lot of work, and it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of effort, and you're going to get your setbacks. I don't use the word failure. I call them temporary setbacks, because not everyone's going to tell you yes.
Yeah. So I have a person who actually spoke at my my last networking event. And, just a side conversation with him was, make people tell you no. Like if you want an answer, you got to get that answer out of them. If not, you're not going to be able to sleep at night. And so, you can't just be complacent. You got to go that extra mile, and people have to see you go that extra mile.
Follow-up's important. Following up is important too, but you also don't want to bug somebody. Like with my guests, most of them are pretty good. It's either yes or no, and then sometimes people aren't sure. If they're not sure or they don't want to come on, I really don't want them as guests, because I want people that want to come on here and talk to me, because there's nothing more awkward than having a guest on here that doesn't really want to be on here or doesn't want to talk. So there's a fine line between doing good follow-ups and being pushy and bugging people, and you just have to realize those fine lines as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think you do a really good job at it. You do a great job at it.
Well, thank you so much. Are you okay for a few more questions, a few more minutes?
Yeah.
Okay. What were some challenges to starting up your own business, and what is a daily day like at Gina Michelle Consultant Group?
So challenges of starting my own business is me standing in my own way. You talk to folks and you just realize that one day you just do it. You just do it. If you want to do it, if you want to go after something, time is going to continue to pass, whether you do it today, tomorrow, or next week. So do it today. Do it today, get it out the way, and then you'll figure it out as you go along. And then just a normal day is mainly talking to folks about what their goals are and how to achieve it. I didn't realize how much experience I have until I have those conversations with folks, and I start asking questions, and then I start recommending things, and they're like, oh, I didn't think about that. Let me call you back. I was like, okay, all right, that's less than 30 minutes, but all right, we're good. If that's all you need. But mostly it's conversations, and then sometimes it's showing folks. So someone may say, I'm trying to do XYZ. And so in process improvement, a lot of things become like research and studies, real life studies. So that way you can get the data behind it. It may be, I want to increase my patrons. I want to open up during this time, or, whatever the case may be, sometimes just real life data of this is what I observe. But these things do not align with where you're trying to go. So then it's you switch these 2 or 3 things, let's reevaluate in 2 weeks, and then we'll figure out what happened then. And normally in 2 or 3 weeks, people see what they're looking to see, but then they just realize it's about consistency. It's oh, maybe I just want to be consistent with what I was going after. I wasn't putting the energy behind it, versus just doing it part-time.
What advice would you give to these people that are watching us live stream or on audio that are looking to start their own business, small, medium, or large, as an entrepreneur? What advice would you give to them?
Do something that you're passionate about that gets you up every single day. I've talked to a lot of entrepreneurs, and the really great ones, this may be contradictory, but the really great, the really big, the ones that I feel are going to be super successful or are super successful, what gets them up in the morning isn't the dollar. What gets them up in the morning is I want to make a difference, and this is how I'm going to make a difference in what I do. Everything else comes. If your purpose is aligned with your actions and you're consistent, it's going to happen. It's inevitable. Like it's like running every day. At some point, you're going to look like an athlete if you run 4 miles every day. So like you just have to be consistent and show up for yourself, because we show up for people all day. We show up for people all the time. Show up for yourself like 20% more than what you do, and you're going to see a change. I promise. You know, you don't have, and when you show up for yourself, the 20% makes you almost like you just want to do more. It's like, oh, I want to do more, but it's like consistency. So if 20% works, 20% works. Let's keep that pattern, so that way you don't feel like you're failing. Because some people will stop. They'll say, well, I didn't see any results this week, so I want to quit. Well, did you put more effort in? Well, I did for 2 weeks. Well, let's throttle back. We're trying to be consistent, because a lot of times it's also behavioral changes in us. So we wake up in the morning, we want to do X, Y, and Z, but our behavior may not align with what we're trying to accomplish. So, you know, change and talking to an entrepreneur about, you know, being consistent, or some behavioral changes that have to happen are not super easy conversations.
Great advice, Gina. And the biggest thing is consistency. And when I started this show 5 years ago, it was on Instagram. I was very bad. I had no audience, I had no guests. And one of my friends believed in me and just said, Chris, just keep doing it on a consistent basis. And consistency can get, the only way you're going to get better is to keep doing it and step out of your comfort zone. I've done more stepping out of my comfort zone the last 5 years than I did in my 20+ year career and my other job as well.
Stepping out of your comfort zone is huge, because you can't change where you sit. You have to be uncomfortable in order to change. And some people, they don't put those things together. Like, have to be uncomfortable so you can start experiencing that change that you want to see. And some people just like to be comfortable. And, you know, then if you're comfortable, change is probably not going to happen.
You want to be successful in any career, you have to keep growing. You don't want to stagnate. The word stagnant, or, you know what I mean? You want to keep growing.
Yep. Agreed.
All right. I've just got a couple more quick questions for you. Can you tell my audience here in Ontario, and also through 40 countries in the world, which is amazing because of this technology, can you just tell my audience about all of the services that Gina Michelle Consultant Group provides?
Yep. Well, we have 3 main arms, and within that, I have folks that can support different industries within those arms. So first we have process improvement. So process improvement is you say, you have a goal, I look at your process that's aligned with what that goal is, and then I pull some data and I say, based on the data, if these are the outcomes that you're trying to drive, these are the things you have to do to drive those outcomes. And then we monitor the data and we look at the data. So that's the process improvement piece. We have network marketing, which are my monthly brunches. So I have a brunch every month where local entrepreneurs can come, and it's a room full of entrepreneurs. I circle the room and I give on the spot consulting. So it's, I have this problem, or I'm trying to do this. And I have my team with me who's also doing the same things and talking to people in the room. And, if they have a key area, I say, wait a second, let me go grab someone. And then they go have that conversation with them. So it's on the spot, free consulting, and then branding. And so branding actually wasn't something that I was looking to do, but you have to have problems to solve. And when I talk to entrepreneurs, content creation and branding became very prevalent in issues that they were having with, my brand doesn't align with what I wanted, what I'm trying to portray to the public. So can you help me with that? And so what that looks like is, are your content, are you using the right colors? When you look at your analytics behind it, are you reaching the right folks? Are you reaching the right age groups, the right countries, the right areas? Are you getting engagement with what you're having out there? So sometimes there's basic analytics that we have at our fingertips that we don't really use. but a lot of the branding is analytic source. So it's not like, hey, have you just tried this? It's like, let's look at your data and see what it is that you're trying to go after. Is it aligning with what you're trying to go after? And then I give you some advice on how to change what you're doing to go after what you're trying to hit.
And that's why listening is so important, because I had this question prepared for you later on in the show, but you already answered it. And also, too, even if you're doing your own podcast show and you're not going into radio, it's still important to have good branding and people can identify your product and get
Yeah.
yourself out there. And I'll be honest, I wear hats. Obviously, I wear a hat like this physically, but with my show and my career, I'm the producer, I'm the host, I'm the content creator, I edit video, I promote myself, I write digital stories for stuff like that. I find in any career, you're not going to always be the best at everything in a career, but if you can learn this and learn that, you can be more diverse. And I find in the media industry, you have to be diverse, and just as well as in a consultant group too. The more diverse and the more hats you can wear, the more valuable you become to your clientele.
Yeah, definitely. And so, I used to be a little embarrassed that I was that college student that had degrees in different areas and my career took multiple paths. But then, just when I started the consulting group, I realized that it was setting me up for this. Like, I've had all these industries and these different areas in my background. It set me up to be able to support the people that I help today.
How did you come about your logo?
So it's really, I started consulting group with my sister and her best friend. So it's three people. And then red I love roses. And so red became just the color of our company. So as you can see, it's three people standing there, and that's the three of us. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that is great. You did a video promo for me, and I thought it was really well. Have you done one of these before that you sent me?
I have not.
Do I have permission to air it? Because I thought you did really well on it.
Sure, absolutely.
I try to do this with all my guests because I really liked it a lot, and I did tag you on social media. So I'm just gonna play this little clip right here. And do you have a YouTube channel out as well for people that can subscribe to it?
Gina Michelle Consulting Group.
Okay, and I'll make sure I hit subscribe after our show tonight. Please let me know if you can hear the audio okay. I do wear 7 hats here, so hopefully we can hear the audio. But I thought you did great on this promo.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm excited to announce I will be participating in my first podcast with Chris Pompey. I am Gina Michelle from Gina Michelle Consulting Group, executive partner and president, where we specialize in process improvement, branding, and network marketing. It sounds pretty simple, but once you connect it, we partner with entrepreneurs and take their businesses to the next level. So, tune into on Monday, December 23rd at 7 p.m. on the Chris Pompey Show. This is my first podcast ever. So I'm really excited about it. He specializes in sports. I'm a huge Eagles fan. He also specializes in entertainment. And if you follow me, I'm very big into comedy. I love comedy. It's one of my favorite genres of media. So please tune in. Look forward to being able to have that conversation with him and learn something. So again, Gina Michelle from Gina Michelle Consulting Group. And I look forward to you all tuning in and seeing. Hello.
Thank you so much for doing this. I thought it was great. And again, people can subscribe to your YouTube channel at Gina Michelle Consultant Group on YouTube.
Yeah.
And since we're speaking of YouTube, I just joined a new social media platform called Blue Sky. It's a new form of Twitter. I guess the creator of Twitter has now started up Blue Sky. So how important is a strong social media presence, especially with a small business working from home?
It's very important. It may not be where you get your source, get your clients, all of because you definitely have to be out in the community, but it's the community's first look at who you are. And so if they look at your social media presence, They get to learn about you. They get to know who you are. When you take your hat off, they want to know, like, who is this person who's trying to help me, do A, B, and C. And so being able to engage with folks, and you can get clients from social media, most definitely. But it's definitely that first impression that you make of folks.
And the technology, social media, you always hear the negative aspects of technology and social media, but if you use it the right way, it can be a great tool. And TikTok, I just joined 4 years ago, thought I was too old for it. I had my perceptions. I was too old for it. It was nonsense. I learned how to cut promos for myself, my guests, and my media work. So TikTok and social media really can be a good tool if you use it right. And it also can really shrink the world down. I've had guests on my show from Australia, Switzerland, the UK. It's just amazing.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. That is really cool.
And finally, I do this with all my guests, Gina. What are some fun facts about Gina Michelle?
Fun facts about Gina Michelle. I don't know. I love to travel. I love just being around my family. Most of the time, I'm probably around my family, just doing really goofy stuff. My mom's really funny. Like, very, they say, like, she's always like cracking jokes. And so, like, our whole family. So I don't know. Traveling, being around my family. I like haunted houses. That's a fun fact. Even though I'm afraid and terrified of them, like Howl-O-Scream. We have Howl-O-Scream here at Busch Gardens. I go very often, even though it's very scary. I used to watch a lot of scary movies as a young adult because I was terrified to watch them growing up. My sister has like the full collection of like Friday the 13th, like in VHS, like still. And so she would traumatize me and turn it on. We were trying to go to sleep. And so, like, I was afraid of scary movies for a long time. And so as a young adult, I think I just watched every scary movie for about 12 years. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm done with scary movies. But I still like them. I like watching scary movies.
What's your favorite scary movie?
I would have to say Scream, the first one. That one and The Haunting. Yeah. The one that scared me the most, though, and I still get, I told you my family is they're all funny. They crack a lot of jokes. The Blair Witch Project. So I was younger than my cousins when we went to go see it. And that was probably the scariest movie. It made me sleep with my lamp on for about 2 or 3 months. Because it was scary.
By the way, I've had a couple of female ventriloquists on my show, one from Los Angeles and one from Australia. And believe it or not, some people are scared of them, especially from the puppets. And I'm like, I don't know.
You can project your voice to make it sound like you're across the room. I probably would be afraid of them too.
I asked her if she would get into that, but I think she's going to stay to the comedy.
Okay. Yeah, that,
you know what? But it's a lot of work to do that. I have so much respect for what they do. It's not easy, and it's a male-dominated industry. And but I think you're seeing more females now as comedians, obviously in the music industry, acting, but also in ventriloquism. I can say the word ventriloquism.
Yeah. That's
so
pretty
even
cool.
So
that's cool for her.
So, yeah. And you know what? Even the best of us too, also doing this show live and stuff like that, you do make mistakes. And the only way you get better as a professional in any career is to learn from your mistakes. Don't beat yourself up. Just learn from them and try to correct them for next time.
That's what I would tell my team. We fail fast and keep moving faster. I mean, you're only going to learn when you fail. Like when things go well all the time, like it's great. And you have your championship party, but like you learn the most when you've not succeeded. You evaluate yourself a lot more. Yeah.
And always be objective about yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, and finally, I haven't been to Virginia since 1985 when I was 13 years old, so I need to get back there. But what makes the state of Virginia such a great place to live and visit and work in?
So I can say maybe not all. I can speak for Hampton Roads, where I live, where I was raised. What makes it so great is that you have a lot of beaches here. So you have like your main beach and a couple other side beaches, and then trails. And so it's just a really nice place. Like when you're done with your work, go somewhere to relax. There's always like the beaches or a trail that you can go and visit. I walk the beaches every Saturday and Sunday. I pick a beach and I early in the morning. I try to get out there before the sun rises. But it's really, really nice to be able to go to the beach, and it's not freezing. Like I still bundle up, but it's bearable. So to me, that's what makes Virginia a really good place to live and visit.
What's a fun fact about the state of Virginia?
A fun fact: they say Virginia is for lovers, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know a fun fact about Virginia. Other than that, Virginia, our slogan, Virginia is for lovers. And I think that's
And what's your favorite food in Virginia?
my favorite food in Virginia. It's a little, I don't know if it's everywhere, but growing up, I grew up in some places that were probably more poor. And so we had local, mom and pop type restaurants. And so we would have something called a large smoke. And that is you have white rice and sausage and gravy. And it is amazing. It is really good. Like if you want like a comfort food, it's really, really good. It's really good.
Good to know, and I'm hoping to get back there in 2025. It'll be 40 years since I've been there, so I need to get back there.
Oh yeah, and let me know when you come.
Absolutely. Gotta ask you this before I gotta ask you this before you go. Do you guys get a lot of hurricanes in Virginia, being off the Atlantic Ocean, I believe?
We get a lot of rain from the hurricanes. Normally, we don't get like direct hits, but we'll get like flooding or the high winds. But yeah.
And finally, Gina, where can my audience follow you on social media, your website, and what's the best way for somebody to contact you?
Well, the best way is always my cell phone, text 757-630-1445. I am on TikTok and Instagram at Gina Michelle Official, and Michelle on Facebook. And then my website is GinaMichelleConsulting.com.
All right. Well, Gina, I want to say thank you so much for coming on tonight, giving us over an hour of your time. And you have an open invite to come back on this show again, or the Small Talk podcast with Marlene Sharp and myself in the new year. And I want to wish you and your family a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and continued success in Gina Michelle Consultant Group.
Thank you. And thank you for the invite and being my first person to interview me on a podcast. I really appreciate the invitation.
Plus, I'm your first Canadian show you've been on.
Absolutely. My first podcast was international. So that's pretty cool, right?
Absolutely. And before I let you go, do you have a question for me? Put the host on a hot seat.
So what are your goals for 2025?
To get my show back on a radio station. I was on 2 radio stations, but unfortunately the media industry can be a cutthroat business, tough at times. So my goal is to get my show back on a radio station, either in studio or with remote. I have a friend in Albany, New York, who does 6 or 7 radio shows remotely from her home. So it's either to get on air through being at home doing this remotely or in a studio. And I just want to continue to get more sponsors for my show and to continue to build my brand up going into 2025.
I love that. I love that. I can't wait. I can't wait to hear about it.
And this is what I love about this show, connecting with people and connecting others with other people. I did this with a comedian in Canada. I connected with another comedian in the state because we're both meditation teachers too. So I just love doing this.
I love that. That's pretty cool.
And
You
I
should have
learned. Pardon me?
I said
Sorry,
you
what
should
was
have led with.
Well,
You should have led
just,
that. Yeah.
yeah, no, I just love connecting with people and I love learning and stuff like that too. And Gina, just give me a little bit of time tonight and I will send you the video, the audio copy, and then I will break this down into reels and clips for 20, 30 seconds. And I will tag you on this. Obviously, you're on Instagram. And what other social media sites are you on besides Instagram?
TikTok and Facebook.
Okay, I will look for you on Facebook and TikTok. I'm on there all the time, so I will add you on TikTok, and we'll have this show put on TikTok as well into little clips because our society sometimes people don't have 45 minutes to an hour to watch. So I try to do 30 to 45-second clips to give people a little taste of what my show's about. But I really appreciate any feedback you have afterwards as well.
Awesome. Thank you. And thank you again for the opportunity.
You're so very welcome. And again, continued success and enjoy your Christmas and happy holidays with you and your family. And we'll definitely keep in touch on social media.
You as well. Thank you.
And I have to say this before I go. Go Birds, fly Eagles, fly.
We're like the Cowboys.
Dallas, boo, boo. That's okay. That's okay. Thank you so much, Gina.
Thank you.
Have a great,
You
have a great night. Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Right, you too.
Bye. All right, guys, that concludes season 9, episode 31 of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show. That was my guest tonight, Gina Michelle. She is the president, executive director of her own business called Gina Michelle Consultant Group. She's self-employed, and you can email her at Gina Michelle Consultant Group at gmail.com, or you can contact her at 757-630 1445 is her phone number to contact her at Gina Michelle Consultant Groups as well. Before we wrap up this show, guys, I'm going to show you guys a little clip of, I'm going to see if I can find it. I guess not. I will do it another time. I was going to show you guys a clip of my Philadelphia Eagles game recap in their 36-33 loss to Washington. But if you guys want to find it, it is on YouTube. Type in Chris Palme Live with CDP Sports Entertainment Talk Show and type in Philadelphia Eagles game recap. I broke down the Eagles 36-33 loss to the Washington Commanders yesterday. The Eagles dropped to 12-3, and the Eagles are back home this Sunday now at 1 o'clock, Sunday at 1 o'clock instead of 4:25 at Lincoln Financial Field against the 7-8 eliminated Dallas Cowboys. And hopefully Jalen Hurts will be back. He left the game against Washington with a concussion, and that was a tough loss for the Eagles. I don't think they're going to get that number 1 seed now with the Lions and Vikings winning. So hopefully the Eagles can finish up the season with a 1 or 2 wins and get that number 2 seed as well. That's about it. Before we wrap up this show, guys, as always, Live with CDP Sports Entertainment Talk Show, again, is brought to you by Barry Cullen Chevrolet and Wellington Brewery here in Guelph. My next show is going to be Thursday, December 26th at 10 a.m., Boxing Day holiday here in Canada at 10 a.m. again Eastern with my special guest, Scott Lawfer. He is the Senior Director of Lacrosse Operations and the alternate governor for the National Lacrosse League's world champion Buffalo Bandits. So Thursday, December 26th, 10 a.m., Scott Lawfer from the Buffalo Bandits will be on, and we're going to talk about the 2023 champion Bandits team and the 24-25 team trying to three-peat. And we're going to break down the Bandits' opening wins against Rochester and Ottawa on the road and talk about their upcoming home opener. The Bandits' home opener is Saturday, December 28th at 6:30 at the KeyBank Center in downtown Buffalo against the Rochester Nighthawks. They're going to bring their 6th NLL championship banner is going to be hung up, and all fans attending will get a mini championship banner as well. So Scott Loffer from the Buffalo Bandits will be on my show Thursday, December 26th at 10 a.m. Boxing Day here in Canada. And as always, guys, Wellington Brewery, founded in 1985 at 950 Woodlawn Road here in Guelph, Ontario. Their website is wellingtonbrewery.ca. You can call them at 519-837-2237. Try a Welly on, and please remember to drink responsibly. Check out their Christmas Lager Mix Pack. It is your go-to gift party flavor for a truly refreshing holiday. Packed with premium lagers, this mix includes our year-round classic, the Smooth Golden Helles Lager, outstanding beer, one of my favorites, and the easy drinking Boot Light Lager, plus a special seasonal treat, Crispy Forever. These crisp, clean brews are each uniquely crafted for a balance of flavor, lower alcohol, and ultimate refreshment, making this mix approachable for any crowd. This festive six-pack is as handsome as it is convenient, perfect for sharing at parties or gifting to the beer lovers in your life. Wellington Brewery is a proud sponsor of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show. Again, try a Welly on, and please remember to drink responsibly as well. And one of my other sponsors is Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership, 905 Woodlawn Road West in the Guelph Auto Mall. Check out barrycullen.com for the newest selection of new and pre-owned GM vehicles, along with their great selection of all-electric vehicles and Cadillac products. You can call the dealership at 519-824-0210 and tell them Chris Palme sent you, or you can email them at info@barrycullen.com. Speaking of Barry Cullen Chevrolet right now, Barry Cullen Chevrolet is your go-to service center this winter at Barry Cullen Chevrolet. With winter here, the colder temperatures here, they can weaken your car battery. So go down to Barry Cullen Chevrolet right now. There is no charge, free battery test. Plus, you get a $20 instant rebate on a new AC Delco 12-volt battery. So if you happen to need a new battery, they will give you a $20 instant rebate on a new AC Delco 12-volt battery. So if you guys' battery feels weak right now or is running weak, go down to Barry Cullen Chevrolet for a no-charge battery test, and you get more details at barrycullen.com. If you're looking to adopt a pet, check out the Cambridge and District Humane Society at 1650 Dunbar Road in Cambridge, Ontario. Telephone number 519-623-7722, extension 0, or visit their website, cambridgehumanesociety.org. All the animals that are up for adoption, their profiles are on cambridgehumanesociety.org. And also, if you're looking to buy a 50/50 monthly raffle ticket in support of the Cambridge District Humane Society, click on their website and go to events, and you can purchase a ticket there as well. And if you're looking to volunteer down at the Cambridge Humane Society like myself, you can volunteer. You can fill out a volunteer application through their website as well. And I want to wish all the staff and the volunteers down at the Cambridge District Humane Society a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. And also, I'm still selling 2025 Cambridge District Humane Society calendars, $10 cash, or you can PayPal me at cpalme19@gmail.com if you're out of town. All the money goes to the Cambridge District Humane Society as well. Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, again, is live streamed on these platforms: YouTube, Facebook, Twitter /X, Twitch, LinkedIn, and now available on Instagram. And speaking of social media, I am now on Blue Sky. Blue Sky is the newest form of social media, and it is similar to what Twitter used to be. You can find me on Blue Sky at Live with CDP 19. Blue Sky app at Live with CDP 19. Hope to see you on Blue Sky in the future. My website, guys, is beacons.ai/Chris D. Palme. Check out my website again on beacons.ai/Chris D. Palme. Live with CDP t-shirts are coming soon. I'm just doing a pre-order right now. The shirts will be $20 in price and will come in medium, large, extra large, double extra large, 3 extra large. If you like the shirt, please let me know because I'm doing a pre-order now for 2025. I'm also a content creator on TikTok. Check me out on TikTok at Live with CDP and hit that follow notification. StreamYard is again the official live stream provider of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show. If you're into webinars or podcasting, check out StreamYard.com. I've been with StreamYard now for 4+ years. Great customer service, great product. And if you're a business, they do have business plans, and you can do it through StreamYard.com, again, through their sales department there as well. Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, the audio versions on these platforms: iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Spotify for podcasters, Apple Podcasts, Breaker, Pocket Cast, Spotify, Castbox, LinkedIn, Pandora, Tuned In, YouTube Music, and Good Pods. Please hit the subscribe and like notification. Finally, you guys can email the show at Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show at cpome19@gmail.com. If you'd like to support my radio show and my media work, I'm also on PayPal, cpome19@gmail.com, if you'd like to give me a tip for the work I do. And also, guys, I am on Cameo. Christmas is only a day and a half away. Check out cameo.com, type in Chris Pame, and I'd be happy to do a personalized video message for you. And all the proceeds, again, will go to my radio and media work. So check me out on the Cameo family, cameo.com/Chris D. Pame. And again, you can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, X, Instagram. Also, if you'd like to subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the like notification. And I'm also on LinkedIn, Threads, and now on Blue Sky at Live with CDP19 as well. And before we wrap up the show, guys, I just want to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays as well. And my next show again is on Thursday, December 26th at 10 a.m. with Scott Loffer from the Buffalo Bandits. He is in charge of their business operations of the Buffalo Bandits, and he's also an alternate governor for the team as well. So I'm excited to have Scott Loffer on our show Thursday at 10 a.m. And before you go, guys, we got Monday Night Football tonight. The New Orleans Saints and Green Bay Packers game just started at 8:15, so they should be well into the first quarter by now. And then Christmas Day, Wednesday, December 25th, we have Kansas City at Pittsburgh at 1 o'clock. And then the late game is Baltimore in Houston at 4:30. So I've got the Packers winning over the Saints tonight. And then I have the Steelers upsetting the Chiefs on Christmas Day. And I'm going to go with Baltimore over Houston. I really like the way the Ravens are playing right now. And two teams to look out for in the playoffs in the AFC and the NFC. AFC, I'm going with the Baltimore Ravens, the way Lamar Jackson's playing and Derrick Henry's playing. And in the NFC, the Los Angeles Rams. I know the record is only 10-6, but they've won, 8 out of their last 10 games. They're playing good football. Sean McVay is a great head coach, and Matt Stafford can get as hot as anybody in the National Football League. So I'm really looking forward to the NFL playoffs starting in a few weeks as well. And that's about it, guys. I want to say thank you again to Gina Michelle from Gina Michelle Consultant Group for coming on. Again, you can email her at Gina Michelle Consultant Group at gmail.com, or you can call her on her cell number at 757-630-1445, and her website is GinaMichelleConsultant.com. I'm going to put it right up here right now. Yep, there's a website, GinaMichelleConsultant.com as well. And that's about it. I want to say thank you to Gina Michelle for coming on. Thank you to everyone watching this live streamed and on audio. And I want to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. And we'll see you back here on Boxing Day with Scott Loffer from the Buffalo Bandits of the National Lacrosse League. I hope everybody has a great night. Enjoy your Christmas. Happy holidays, everybody. And thank you again for watching and listening to Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, brought to you by Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership and Wellington Brewery here in Guelph. Merry Christmas, everybody. We'll see you here on Boxing Day at 10 a.m.